Daniel was 11, the kind of boy whose smile lit up his whole face. His parents often praised him for being bright, playful, and curious. Jennifer, his best friend from next door, was the same age. The two were inseparable, walking to school together, sharing homework, and sneaking mangoes from the big tree in Jennifer's backyard. One Saturday afternoon, while searching for a cartoon DVD in the old wooden cabinet in the living room, Daniel stumbled on a disc without a label. The cover was scratched, and unlike the usual shiny discs, this one looked older. "Maybe it's a Jackie Chan movie," Daniel said with excitement, holding it up. Jennifer laughed. "Or a Nigerian film. Let's watch it." The house was unusually quiet. Their parents had gone to the market and wouldn't return for hours. Daniel slid the DVD into the player, and they sat cross-legged on the floor, waiting for the screen to light up. At first, the images confused them. It wasn't a cartoon, it wasn't action, and it wasn't the Nollywood drama they expected. The sounds, the movements, the scenes, none of it was meant for children. But curiosity held them there, eyes wide, hearts racing. Jennifer frowned, hugging her knees. "Daniel. I don't think this is for us." But Daniel shook his head. "No one will know. Let's just see what happens." That was the beginning of a secret they didn't understand but couldn't forget. The days turned into weeks, but the memory of that forbidden discovery refused to fade. Whenever the parents stepped outside, whether to fetch water, visit neighbors, or attend market, the young African boy in his light blue school shirt and navy shorts, and the young African girl in her green dress with beaded braids, would exchange secret glances. The boy would whisper eagerly, "They've gone, quick, let's check the cabinet." The girl hesitated, biting her lip. "Again? We shouldn't." But curiosity always won. Together, they slipped into the living room. The wooden cabinet creaked open, and the scratched, nameless DVD glimmered under a ray of afternoon sun. Their hands trembled as they slid it into the old player. The room dimmed. The television's glow filled their young faces. At first, they watched in silence, whispering questions neither could fully answer. The girl asked softly, uneasy, Why do they do that?" The boy frowned, pretending to know. "Because that's what grown-ups do. You'll see, it's normal." But even as he spoke, his heart pounded with confusion. They didn't laugh, they didn't giggle. They only stared, eyes wide, jaws clenched, captured by images they couldn't unsee. Then came the day they decided to try. The boy whispered nervously but with excitement, "We can copy them. No one will ever know." The girl shook her head quickly. No, it's wrong." But the boy's persistence chipped away at her fear. Slowly, awkwardly, clumsily, they tried to mimic the strangers on the screen. Not knowing what it meant. Not knowing the weight of innocence slipping away. And when it was over, silence filled the room. They didn't speak. They couldn't. Their friendship changed. No longer did they play hide-and-seek in the compound. No longer did they laugh over homework under the mango tree. Instead, their meetings carried a heavy silence, a secret bond that bound them, and yet pulled them apart. At night, the girl lay on her mat, whispering to herself, "I don't like this anymore." Each night, guilt gnawed at her. She wanted to stop. But each time she spoke, the boy pushed harder. "If we don't tell anyone, it's fine. It's our secret," he said defensively. The girl frowned, eyes wet. "But, what if someone finds out?" The boy smirked, pretending confidence. "They won't. Only you and me know." But he was wrong. Secrets always find their way out, especially in a schoolyard full of eager ears. Days turned darker. The girl grew quieter, avoiding eye contact at school. Her laughter faded. She felt heavy with shame. Meanwhile, the boy grew bold. He carried himself differently, puffing out his chest, walking like he had discovered a world no one else knew. But while he felt powerful, she felt small. While he thought it was thrilling, she thought it was poison. The bond between them stretched thinner, threatening to snap. At night, lying on her mat, the girl stared at the roof, listening to the creaks of the house. She remembered her mother's gentle words about purity, respect, and patience. Her chest tightened. She whispered in the dark, "God, please, forgive me. I didn't know." On the other side of the village, the boy thought differently. He replayed the images in his head, convincing himself he was wiser, more grown than his classmates. He muttered with pride, "They wouldn't understand. I'm ahead of them. I know things. But wisdom is not in knowledge of sin. Wisdom is knowing what to avoid." And this boy was walking straight into a pit. The first cracks appeared in whispers. At school, while sitting under the tree with friends, the boy let slip a hint, just a word, a smirk, a suggestion of things he had seen. The boys laughed, confused. One friend teased, "What do you mean, you've seen that? You're lying." The boy grinned, puffing his chest. "I'm not lying. I know things you don't." He thought he was untouchable. But every word brought danger close. The girl confronted him after school, her voice sharp with anger. "Why are you telling them? You promised we'd keep it secret." The boy shrugged carelessly. "I didn't say everything. Just small things. Relax." Her eyes welled with tears. "No. You're going to ruin everything. I don't want this anymore." Her voice cracked. She wanted freedom. But the chains of secrecy bound them both. The girl's guilt grew unbearable. She considered telling her mother, confessing everything. But fear silenced her. She only whispered warnings to the boy. "If you don't stop, they'll find out. And when they do, we'll be finished." The boy smirked, dismissive. "No one will ever know. Trust me." But trust built on lies always collapses. And soon, their secret would explode into the open. It happened on a Wednesday morning, the kind of morning where the air was cool after a night of rain. The school compound buzzed with life. Children shouted, chased each other, and shared pieces of roasted maize under the mango trees. The smell of chalk drifted from open classrooms. The young African boy in his light blue shirt and navy shorts stood among a circle of boys, chest out, voice lowered in secrecy. He wanted their attention, their respect. "Do you know what I've seen?" he whispered, his eyes darting from face to face. The others leaned in, curious. "What? Tell us." A sly grin spread across his face. "You wouldn't understand. It's for grown-ups. Things you can't even imagine." The boys burst into laughter. One smacked his shoulder playfully. "You're lying. You don't know anything." His pride stung. He leaned closer, voice sharp, determined to prove himself. "I swear, I know. I've seen things. Things adults do. Real things." The boys gasped, eyes wide, uncertain whether to believe him. Nearby, the young African girl in her green dress with beaded braids froze. Her heart pounded as she caught fragments of his words. She recognized the smirk on his face, the arrogance in his tone. He was letting their secret slip. She felt her knees weaken. Her stomach turned. This was the moment she had feared. "Stop it," she whispered harshly as she pulled him aside, her voice trembling. "Why are you saying this?" He smirked, brushing her off. "Relax. They don't believe me anyway. It's just talk." But she could feel eyes on her. She could feel whispers forming already. The boys laughed, egging him on. "If it's true, prove it. Tell us more." And he did. He exaggerated, twisting the little he had seen into wild stories, puffing himself up as though he carried a secret world inside him. He spoke louder, forgetting caution. Then silence fell. A shadow loomed over the circle. Their class teacher, a tall African man in his early 40s wearing a tucked-in shirt and simple trousers, had been passing by. At first, he thought it was just children's banter. But the words he overheard stopped him cold. He stepped closer, his brows drawn tight. The boys scattered, nervous laughter fading into silence. The teacher's voice was sharp, cutting through the air. "What did you just say?" The boy froze, his mouth dry. The girl's stomach sank to her toes. "Both of you," the teacher said firmly. "Come with me. Now." The compound fell quiet. Children watched, whispering as the two were led across the yard. Shame burned on their faces. They could feel the weight of every eye. In the staff room, the air was heavy with chalk dust and the smell of ink. The teacher sat them down, his face stern. He folded his arms, looking from one to the other. "Explain," he said. The boy fumbled, stammering. The girl stared at her hands, too afraid to speak. The teacher sighed deeply, disappointment etched on his face. This is serious. Do you understand the kind of words you are throwing around? Do you understand what you are saying? Neither answered. Silence stretched. Within the hour, the decision was made. Notes were written. Messengers sent. Their parents were called. The children sat in a corner of the staff room, legs trembling, waiting. Every tick of the clock echoed like thunder in their ears. Finally, the door creaked open. First came the girl's mother, her green wrapper tied tightly around her waist, worry in her eyes. Behind her followed the boy's father, broad-shouldered, stern, his jaw tight with anger. Their footsteps echoed heavy on the cement floor. The teacher cleared his throat, rising to address them. He explained what he had heard. The words fell heavy in the room. Every detail pierced like a blade. The girl's mother gasped, her hand covering her mouth as tears welled in her eyes. She shook her head slowly, disbelief flooding her face. The boy's father clenched his fists, veins bulging on his arms. His breath came heavy, mixing fury with shame. The boy lowered his eyes, wishing the floor would swallow him. The girl trembled, tears slipping silently down her cheeks. The teacher's voice grew firm. This is not something to dismiss. Children do not invent these things from nowhere. They have seen. They have copied. You must ask yourselves, how? The parents exchanged stunned glances. The silence was deafening. The girl's mother whispered through her tears, but where would they even? The boy swallowed hard, his lips dry. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he confessed. At home. The DVD in the cabinet. The room went cold. The truth cut through the parents like lightning. The children had not gone searching for trouble. Trouble had been waiting for them, hidden in plain sight. For a moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the ticking clock and the shallow breaths of two terrified children. The boy's father gritted his teeth. So this is what you have been doing behind our backs. The girl's mother covered her face, her shoulders shaking. The teacher raised a hand, his voice steady, though firm. You cannot only be angry. You must understand what this means. Curiosity is natural, but without guidance, it turns dangerous. If you punish them without teaching, they will only learn to hide better next time. The parents sat in silence, the weight of his words sinking in. The shame was not only on the children, but on them too. The boy's chest heaved. The girl wiped her cheeks. For the first time, both realized the secret they thought they controlled, had controlled them all along. That afternoon, as they walked out of the school compound beside their parents, every whisper from classmates felt like a stone thrown at their backs. Every step felt heavier than the last. They knew the truth, the secret was no longer theirs. It had escaped, spreading like smoke, and nothing could. But the real lesson was still waiting. That evening, when the sun set and shadows stretched long across the village, the conversations at home would decide what happened next. Would there be punishment? Would there be forgiveness? Or would there be silence again, allowing history to repeat? The children didn't know. They only knew that their world had changed forever. At Daniel's house, his father sat him down gently. Daniel admitted he feared punishment, which was why he kept silent. His mother explained that hiding mistakes makes wounds heavier. His father clarified that what he had seen on the DVD was not real love, but a dangerous imitation. When Daniel asked why such a thing was in the house, his parents had no defense but admitted their failure to keep it away. At Jennifer's home, her mother held her close, urging her never to keep shameful secrets. Jennifer confessed the DVD made her feel confused, drawn to curiosity, yet dirty inside. Her father reassured her she wasn't dirty, just too young for such things, and promised they would help her understand better. Across both homes, parents stumbled through awkward but honest talks. They explained respect, boundaries, and the sacredness of the body. They taught their children that secrecy fuels shame, but truth opens the way for healing. Slowly, Daniel and Jennifer felt the heavy burden lift from their shoulders. The next day, Mr. Okello brought both families together again. He reminded them that the greatest lessons are not always in books but in how mistakes are handled. The children had learned, and so had the parents. Daniel and Jennifer exchanged shy smiles, the weight of guilt replaced by relief. Their mistake became a turning point. What began as a secret born of childish curiosity ended with an important truth: children need guidance, not silence. Parents must protect and teach, not just punish. And even shameful mistakes can become lessons if met with honesty and compassion. Though still young, Jennifer and Daniel carried a wisdom beyond their years. Curiosity without guidance misleads, but open conversations heal.